Welcome back, everybody. Now, living in Las Vegas, I've been wanting to go down to the Sphere, and I finally made it down there. It opened back in September of 2023. It's February 2025, and I finally got down there to check it out for myself. So I thought I would share my experience viewing their Postcard from Earth show with you. Now, I've got some kind of good news and bad news about this video. The bad news is the microphone I use for my phone, for the most part, didn't work down there. I didn't want to take a full camera, so I used my phone. I thought I would use a better microphone. The microphone didn't work. I only got about 10% of the audio. But the good news is that almost everything related to the video I shot had copyrighted music, so I couldn't use the audio anyways. Blaring copyrighted music seems to be the norm down there. So for this video, you're kind of stuck with me narrating what happened, showing you footage, and then using some kind of similar music that I'm allowed to use on YouTube. So my first thought was, I've only seen it from afar. I was wondering how it would look up close, if it was gonna be impressive. It still is. It's only when you're right up next to it that you can see the pixels, which are puck LED lights that are about 8 inches apart. But from far away, you really can't tell that they're actually pixels at all. So I parked in lot A, which is the closest one to the Sphere, walked over, and when I'm walking past it, they had this kind of atmospheric, spacey music. It probably sounds a little bit something like this. So of course it was raining, but when I walked inside to wait in line, there was this kind of lobby where everybody was just kind of standing there. I'm not sure if there were lines there or what. It was just a big mass of people. And there was someone with a bullhorn at the very front that nobody could hear. So we were all just kind of standing there. I stood there for about 35 minutes just waiting. At some point the line all started moving, and we really didn't know what line we were in, if any, but they kind of all worked it out and we all got inside. What was also kind of confusing is the ticket says 4:30, but the show was actually at 5:15. There were some people thinking they may have missed the show because it was 4 o'clock before they even let the line in there. That was a little bit confusing, not to mention that you can only park in the parking lot an hour before the show, but they aren't clear if it's an hour before the show starts or an hour before the doors open. So there's there are a few things there I'd probably fix. Once inside there, I saw a couple of different sections with these robots standing there with these holograms on the other side of them. Each one of those kind of drew small crowds. We're in.
And garnished with Peruvian corn and sweet potatoes. It's a refreshing culinary adventure that's hard to resist.
Most people seem to be heading to their seats. A few people getting merch, and there was a few food places scattered around, but unfortunately all the food wasn't together. It was kind of all over the place. I wish they'd put them all together, but they didn't. I was hungry, so I went and got some food. There was a pizza place I was eyeing, but I ended up at another place. I just got a soft pretzel and some waffle fries. The soft pretzel was 12 bucks. The waffle fries were 7. Of course, I had to get my collector's Sphere cup, which was $14, that had a Pepsi included with it. So I got basically a Pepsi with a collector's cup for 14 bucks. What's weird is it didn't even hold a full 20-ounce drink, even though it looks large. But you know, it is kind of fun. I had to get one. Even though I live here, I was in tourist mode, I had to get it myself. I'm not sure if I'm ever gonna use it again, but at least I have it. It'll probably end up in a box somewhere, I'll never see it again. By the way, the tickets I paid for the show, now, some people say that the seats in the back are the best, but I sat right in the very front in the center section. My tickets were about 150 bucks per person. That's including the Ticketmaster convenience fee or whatever they call it. And so the price was steep, but I thought my seats were excellent. I actually thought I was in one of the best seats in the house. Maybe sitting in the back is great, but sitting up front wasn't bad either. So when the movie first started playing, it was all just on a square screen. It looked kind of like an IMAX theater. And for the first 10 minutes of the show, I'm sitting there going, did I just pay 150 bucks per person to watch an IMAX movie? I have to wonder if other people around me are thinking the same thing. They're like, this is not what we were expecting. So the film itself, called Postcard from Earth, was basically about these future humans that are going to colonize another planet. There was kind of like this fictitious framework around basically a bunch of cool footage. But they frame it by being these people in the future who are colonizing another planet, and they've been in suspended animation so long, they're being reminded of what Earth was like. So that kind of sets up the scene. And then at some point they show this futuristic planet, and it zooms in and zooms in, and all of a sudden it's the entire place. It was like the screen was the entire arena. It was incredible. It was actually like VR without the headset, because everywhere you look, there's video. It was actually incredible. What's also interesting is there's no corners or no lines where there's walls because it's all smooth. So you really get this realistic sensation that you're there. That was crazy. There were a lot of scenes where it was flying, and I would look over and see the side where the screen ended. It looked more like we were flying than the screen was actually moving. There were times where the flight went downward and I felt like motion. I felt like I was moving. It was crazy. I felt my stomach drop a couple times when it went down into a canyon. Now that alone would have been awesome, but there were other things as well to enhance the experience. The seats would vibrate and rumble if there were things going on. There was wind that blew in your face, like there was a part that had a storm, and there were actually, not only did you feel the wind blowing, but there was the smell of a rainstorm. They actually had smells associated. There was an orange field and you could smell orange trees. It really made you feel like you were there. It was one of the most unique experiences I ever had. So the story started from like the origins of life and actually went into the future when people were supposedly leaving Earth because we messed it up so bad ecologically. But a lot of the sites they included from around the world were things I've never even seen before. I never even knew existed. And it's probably the closest I'm ever going to be to actually going there. So I was very impressed. There was also kind of a significant section when it was kind of talking about modern times where there's a lot of time lapse, which I like. Some of those scenes I wish they would have lasted a lot longer because I was so interested in them. So once the movie was over, what was also cool is because they had so much room to show the end credits, they didn't have to scroll them. They just showed them on the screen. They just kept adding sections of credits over and over again until the entire thing was just a bunch of credits. I tend to have kind of a short shelf life of interest. I'll find myself at concerts or sporting events from kind of like checking my watch going, all right, I've been out long enough, I'm kind of ready to go home. Here I wasn't. I didn't want it to end. I was actually disappointed when it ended, and that's not like me. I'm usually wanting to bounce about halfway through any event like that. So in the end, I walked away from it with a similar but actually more enhanced version of the feeling I had when I first saw an IMAX movie in 1988. In 1988, a friend of mine went all the way up to LA from Riverside, California to watch my first IMAX movie, which was called Chronos, which was entirely in time lapse. In fact, I still have the soundtrack by Michael Stearns if you like new age music. I'd never seen an IMAX movie before, and that movie blew my mind. Funny story about that one though, my friend and I, we kind of went to an early showing, so we were like the only ones in the theater, and this guy comes walking down and sits right next to my friend in an empty theater. It's like, you have an entire theater and you sat right next to us. That was kind of funny. I still think about that sometimes. But as impressed as I was in 1988 with my first IMAX film, which was Chronos, I was much more impressed yesterday seeing the Sphere for the first time. That literally felt like I was there. It felt like I was moving. I could feel the wind. I could smell the smells. I felt motion. I saw things around the world I'd never seen before. So I have to say, if you ever visit Las Vegas and you're looking for something to do, it's not cheap, but this is something I'd probably put on my short list of things to do. If you want something even cheaper, I'd go to Omega Mart. That's kind of bizarre as well. I've seen a lot of stuff in Vegas over the years. I've been here for 31 years this year, and not many things impressed me. This one impressed me. Oh, and by the way, they don't call it the Sphere, they call it Sphere. I saw a sign that said, "Welcome to Sphere." It's hard for me to say it without saying the. It's kind of like the band Eagles. They're not actually the Eagles, it's Eagles. Hey, I saw Eagles in concert. I don't know, this is kind of weird to me. Hard for me to say, have you gone to Sphere? I don't know. I might be nitpicking, but I need the word the. But that's all I've got. If you've been to the Sphere in Las Vegas, tell me what you think in the comments below. I appreciate watching, and I'll see you next time.